and welcome back to Friday Reads, where we help you find your next read. I'm Jill.
And I'm Julie. We took a few weeks off, took vacation, had some fun, and we are back. And when we last met, we talked about a very popular author in the library, Colleen Hoover, and how her books kind of flew off the shelves this summer. And today we're doing kind of another popular author at the Kimberly Library, and that is Kristin Hannah. So I'll turn it over to Jill for her first pick.
So Kristin Hannah, when I think of her, I think of strong female characters and historical fiction and family. So my first choice is Kate Quinn. She is the author of The Rose Code, which you might be familiar with, at least the cover. Diamond Eye is her newer one. In 1937, in a snowbound city of Kiev, Rye and bookish history student Mila Pavlichino organizes her life around her library job and her young son. But Hitler's invasion of the Ukraine and Russia sends her on a different path. Given a rifle and sent to join the fight, Mila must forge herself from studious girl to deadly sniper, a lethal hunter of Nazis known as Lady Death. When news of her 300th kill makes her a national heroine, Mila finds herself torn from the bloody battlefields to the Eastern Front and sent to America on a goodwill tour. Still reeling from war wounds and devastated by loss, Mila finds herself isolated and lonely in the glittering world of Washington, D.C., until an unexpected friendship with the First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt and an even more unexpected connection with a silent fellow sniper offer the possibility of happiness. But when an old enemy from Mila's past joins forces with the deadly new foe lurking in the shadows, Lady Death finds herself battling her own demons and enemy bullets in the deadliest duel of her life. So, World War II lady with a gun.
I've got The Rose Code on my list to read, but I haven't read that yet. My first pick is Summer Wives by Beatrix Williams. This was published in 2018. You may be familiar with this author. She's the author of The Golden Hour, The Summer Wives, 100 Summers, and other works of historical fiction. So in this book, it's the summer of 1951, and Miranda Schuyler arrives on elite, secretive Winthrop Island as a schoolgirl from the margins of high society, still reeling from the loss of her father in the Second World War. When her beautiful mother marries Hugh Fisher, whose summer house on Winthrop overlooks the famous lighthouse, Miranda's catapulted into a heady new world of pedigrees and cocktails, status and swimming pools. Sounds pretty good. Isabel Fisher, Miranda's new stepsister, is eager to draw Miranda into the arcane customs of Winthrop society. On this island, there are two clans, the Summer families with their steadfast ways and quiet obsessions, and the working class of Portuguese fishermen and domestic workers who earn their living on the water and in the laundries of the summer houses. Uneasy among Isabel's privileged friends, Miranda finds herself drawn to Joseph Vargas, whose father keeps the lighthouse with his mysterious wife. In summer, Joseph helps his father in the lobster boats, but in the autumn he returns to Brown University, where he's determined to make something of himself. Since childhood, Joseph's enjoyed an intense, complex friendship with Isabel Fisher, and as the summer winds to its end, Miranda's caught in a catastrophe that will shatter Winthrop's hard-won tranquility and banish Miranda from the island for nearly 2 decades. Then, in the landmark summer of 1969, Miranda returns at last as a renowned Shakespearean actress hiding a terrible heartache. So you have to read and find out what happens when she returns to this island. So if you like Kristin Hannah's The Nightingale, The Four Winds, 2 of my favorite books by Kristin Hannah, you may like this author and her books. Summer Wives.
So my next choice is Chanel Clayton. Chanel writes a lot of historical fiction with strong female characters, although a lot of them take place in Cuba. So Next Year in Havana, this one is a Reese Witherspoon book pick if you follow that stuff. Havana, 1958, the daughter of a sugar baron. 19-year-old Eliza Perez is part of Cuba's high society, where she is largely sheltered from the country's growing political unrest until she embarks on a clandestine affair with a passionate revolutionary. Miami, 2017, freelance writer Marisol Ferrer grew up hearing romantic stories of Cuba from her late grandmother Eliza, who was forced to flee with her family during the revolution. Eliza's last wish was for Marisol to scatter her ashes in the country of her birth. Arriving in Havana, Marisol comes face to face with the contrast of Cuba's tropical, timeless beauty and its perilous political climate. When more family comes to light and Marisol finds herself attracted to a man with secrets of his own, she'll need the lessons of her grandmother's past to help her understand the true meaning of courage. So, Next Year in Havana.
My second pick is an author that's probably familiar to most people, and this is Lost Roses by Martha Hall Kelly. This was published in 2019. Probably familiar with her runaway bestseller Lilac Girls, which introduced the real-life heroine Carolyn Faraday. This novel, set a generation earlier and also inspired by true events, features Caroline's mother Eliza and follows three equally indomitable women from St. Petersburg to Paris under the shadow of World War I. Got a little bit of glare on the cover. It's 1914 and the world has been on the brink of war so many times, many New Yorkers treat the subject with only a passing interest. Eliza Faraday is thrilled to be traveling to St. Petersburg with Sofia, a cousin of the Romanovs. The two met years ago one summer in Paris and became close confidants. Now Eliza embarks on the trip of a lifetime, home with Sofia to see the splendors of Russia. But when Austria declares war on Serbia and Russia's imperial dynasty begins to fall, Eliza escapes back to America, while Sofia and her family flee to their country estate. In need of domestic help, they hire the local fortune teller's daughter, Varinka, unknowingly bringing intense danger into their house. On the other side of the Atlantic, Eliza is doing her part to help the white Russian families find safety as they escape the revolution. But when Sofia's letters suddenly stop coming, she fears the worst for her best friend. From the turbulent streets of St. Petersburg to the avenues of Paris and the society of fallen Russians who live there, the lives of Eliza, Sofia, and Varinka will intersect in profound ways, taking readers on a breathtaking ride through a momentous time in history. So, historical fiction with strong women.
Yes.
Martha Hall Kelly.
That's a good choice. I think that Kristin Hannah fans will enjoy that. Something else I think of Kristin Hannah books is sometimes they make you cry. So historical fiction that'll make you cry, and so will this.
Oh, absolutely.
Before We Are Yours by Lisa Wingate. Memphis, 1939. 12-year-old Bill Rilfoss and her 4 younger siblings have a magical life aboard their family's Mississippi River shanty boat. But when their father must rush their mother to the hospital one stormy night, Rill is left in charge until strangers arrive in force. Wrenched from all that is familiar, thrown into Tennessee Children's Home Society orphanage, the Foss children are assured that they will soon be returned to their parents. But they quickly realize the dark truth. At the mercy of the facility's cruel director, Rill fights to keep her sisters and brother together in a world of danger and uncertainty. Aiken, South Carolina, present day. Born into wealth and privilege, Avery Stafford comes to have it all. A successful career as a federal prosecutor, a handsome fiancé, and a lavish wedding on the horizon. But when Avery returns home to help her father weather a health crisis, a chance encounter leaves her with uncomfortable questions and compels her to take a journey through her family's long-hidden history on a path that will ultimately lead either to devastation or to redemption. Based on one of America's most notorious real-life scandals in which Georgia Tan, director of a Memphis-based adoption organization, kidnapped and sold poor children to wealthy families all over the country, Lisa Wingate's riveting, wrenching, and ultimately uplifting tale reminds us how, even though the paths we take can lead many places, the heart never forgets where we belong. So, before
That book did make me cry. That was good. This author, Kristin Hannah, this came up on lists. If you were fans of Kristin Hannah's The Nightingale and Martha Hall Kelly's The Lilac Girls, this book came up. And this is The Room on Rue Amelie, if I am pronouncing that correctly. And this tells the tale of an American woman, a British RAF pilot, and a young Jewish teenager whose lives intersect in occupied Paris during the tumultuous days of World War II. When newlywed Ruby arrives in Paris in 1939 with her French husband Marcel, she imagines strolling arm in arm along the grand boulevards, awash in the golden afternoon light. But the war is looming on the horizon, and as France falls to the Nazis, her marriage begins to splinter. Charlotte is 11 when the Germans roll into the French capital, their sinister swastika flags snapping in the breeze. After the Jewish restrictions take effect and Jews are ordered to wear the yellow star, Charlotte can't imagine things getting much worse. But then the mass deportations begin and her life is ripped forever apart. Thomas Clark, our third character, joins the British Royal Air Force to protect his country, but when his beloved mother dies in a German bombing during the waning days of the Blitz, he wonders if he's really making a difference. Then he finds himself in Paris, in the shadow of the Eiffel Tower, and he discovers a new reason to keep fighting, and an unexpected road home. Fate brings these three together, Ruby, Charlotte, and Thomas, and they must summon the courage to defy the Nazis and open their own broken hearts as they fight to survive. It's rich with historical drama and emotional depth. It's an unforgettable story that will stay with you long after the final pages turn. This sounds like this one also may bring me to tears if I read this.
Easy to remember, too, because it's another Kristin. Our next one is The Aviator's Wife by Melanie Benjamin. And this is a story of an extraordinary couple, Charles Lindbergh and Anne Morrow Lindbergh. When Anne Morrow, a shy college senior with hidden literary aspirations, travels to Mexico City to spend Christmas with her family, she meets Colonel Charles Lindbergh, fresh off his celebrated 1927 solo flight across the Atlantic. Enthralled by Charles' assurance and fame, Anne is certain the Aviator has scarcely noticed her. But she's wrong. Charles sees in Anne a kindred spirit, a fellow adventurer, and her world will be changed forever. The two marry in a headline-making wedding. In the years that follow, Anne becomes the first licensed female glider pilot in the United States. But despite this and other major achievements, she is viewed merely as the aviator's wife. A fairy tale life she once longed for will bring heartache and hardships, ultimately pushing her to reconcile her need for love and her desire for independence, and to embrace at last life's infinite possibilities for change and happiness. So Melanie Benjamin said she's an armchair historian and a New York Times best-selling author about people who make history. So
there you go. Yeah. My fourth pick is a little bit of a deviation from the other historical fiction, and this is In a Book Club Far Away by Tiff Marcello, published in 2021. She is the author of Once Upon a Sunset and the Key to Happily Ever After. This is a heartwarming and moving novel following three army wives who are estranged friends who must overcome their differences when one of them is desperate for help. Regina, Adelaide, and Sophie used to be best friends. As army wives at Fort East, they bonded during their book club and soon became inseparable. But with an unimaginable betrayal happened amongst the group, the friendship abruptly ended, and they haven't spoken since. That's why 8 years later, Regina and Sophie are shocked when they get a call for help from Adelaide. Adelaide's husband is stationed abroad, and without any friends or family near her new home of Alexandria, Virginia, she has no one to help take care of her young daughter when she has to undergo emergency surgery. For the sake of an innocent child, Regina and Sophie reluctantly put their differences aside to help their old friend. As the three women unite, they must overcome past hurts and see if there's any future for their friendship. In a Book Club Far Away honors the immense power of female friendship and how love can defy time, distance, and old wounds. So if you're fans of Kristin Hannah's Firefly Lane and the Kate and Tully friendship through the years, you may like In a Book Club Far Away.
So this is a little bit of a different track. I found a blog called She Reads that Kristin Hannah was talking about what she reads.
Oh, there you go.
And this is a book she said everybody should read. Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafran. It was published in 2005. Barcelona, 1945. A city slowly heals from war wounds, and Daniel, an antiquarian book dealer's son who mourns the loss of his mother, finds solace in a mysterious book entitled The Shadow of the Wind by one Julian Carax. But when he sets out to find the author's other works, he makes shocking discovery. Someone has been systematically destroying every copy of the book Carax has written. In fact, Daniel may have the last of Carax's books in existence. Soon, Daniel's seemingly innocent quest opens a door into one of Barcelona's darkest secrets, an epic story of murder, madness, and doomed love. So if you wonder what Kristin Hannah reads and what inspires her, you might want to pick this one up.
Shadow of the Wind. All right. My last pick is an older book. This is from 2011, and this is Ellen Feldman's Next to Love. And this, again, depicts the enduring power of love and friendship and illuminates a transformational moment in American history. Set in a small town in Massachusetts, this book follows three childhood friends, Babe, Millie, and Grace, whose lives are unmoored when their men are called to duty, and yet the changes that are thrust upon them move them in directions they never dreamed possible, while their husbands and boyfriends are enduring their own transformations. In the decades that follow, these three friends lose their innocence, struggle to raise their kids, and find meaning and love in unexpected places. And as they change, so does America. From a country in which people know their place in the social hierarchy to a world in which feminism, the civil rights movement, and technological innovations present new possibilities and a whole lot of uncertainty. And yet Babe, Millie, and Grace remain bonded by their past even as their kids grow up and away and a new society rises from the ashes of the war. This was described as a beautifully crafted and unforgettable story depicting the enduring power of love and friendship and illuminating a transformational moment in American history. So check out Ellen Feldman's Next to Love, again with history and strong female characters.
So I hope if you are a fan of Kristin Hannah and you've read everything she's got, I hope we gave you some ideas on other things you can read.
Thank you for watching. You know, you can find our videos on our Facebook page of the Kimberly Public Library or our YouTube channel. Those views have been going up. People have been finding us on YouTube. So until next time, we thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.